one. It's kind of like, close in on Beta, of course. That way, it left him at the end to die. I liked that concept. Um, I like the fact that, I did pick Gabriel to die, but of course he got saved by Maggie. That was also good too, because gave you the excitement moment of the episode. Um, I was very impressed about how Beta died. I know a lot of people said he was too quick. My thoughts on that was if they was a little bit longer, it would have gave them more time to either hurt Negan or hurt Daryl, or the walkers would have came in, whatever. So if it was, since it was short and sweet, he was able to go be with the walkers, obviously, at the end. And I thought that was very poetic. I thought that was very good for the show. And then also Daryl Negan was able to be saved and not any harm toward them. That was good too. The Carol and Lydia thing was very sweet. The fact that she ended up saving Carol, and I think Carol's opening up more to her, and they feel like they're having that bond and building that relationship to each other. The one moment that I really teared up about, of course, was when Maggie and Judith was able to meet again, and hug and everything. I wish they would have kind of introduced RJ more into that situation too, so that way she knew who he was. Of course, she probably had no clue about RJ. That part I wish would have happened, but overall, I think the episode was really good. For what what it was. So.
All right. And did you watch the World Beyond premiere?
Oh yes, I did. I'm actually liking the show. Not too keen about the intro music that they picked. It is a lot different than the other two shows.
Oh yeah.
I've watched every episode of Fear. I've watched every episode of Walking Dead. That part kind of threw me out of the loop, really, because it just didn't feel The Walking Dead-ish. But the show in itself it's very interesting. It is different. It does give you a different perspective. And it lets you know what the CRM's about, obviously. That they're not a good group coming out the gate. I did like the twist that they had in there. Like the fact that the mom that supposedly killed the two girls' mom, and in fact that mom is actually the other kid's mom. So that's I'm curious how that's going to work out and play out as the show progressed. But the fact that the whole community died, that's over 9,000 people. It's crazy how they can take out that many.
Yeah, and they say it was like 9,500 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It was like a lot of people, and only the few that left the community survived. So that's crazy. I wonder what's going to happen when they find out that their whole world is gone that they were living in. Mm-hmm. So now they have no choice to live in the world that's happening, I guess.
Yeah. I know when being that we're talking about World Beyond right now, as soon as I saw her get off the helicopter, it's like, yeah, you scream bad news. Mm-hmm. Like you're in a black trench coat. There's supposed to be multiple people with you, and you go and say, oh yeah, by the way, I'm the only representative. It's like, yeah, things are probably going to go down. I mean, it's The Walking Dead. People show up and there's supposed to be multiple people and there's only one. It's like, that just screams, if you're a Walking Dead fan, that this is not going to end well. Yeah. Now, I do have a theory, and I'm not the only one. I've seen a lot of people online have this theory. The crates that we've seen with the other helicopters, that the walkers were actually in those crates.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen that.
They're actually they're transporting the walkers, and they're wiping communities out one by one.
That's interesting. Okay.
So, I mean, it's possible. I mean, we've seen the governor do it.
And they definitely didn't take no hostages.
Yeah, we've seen the Horde be used multiple times by Rick and crew and by
Governor.
Negan, the
Yeah.
Whispers. Like, so why not?
Hmm. Yeah.
That's basically your nuclear option in the Walking Dead universe.
Hmm.
I mean, even Michonne says that the council is like, she has a nuclear bomb. Like, that's her nuke. I mean, you got a way to defuse it. By all means, let me know. We'll go take her out now. But unless you got a way, I mean, we're kind of stuck where we are. But my opinion on the finale is maybe this is just because it took us so long to get there because of the COVID.
Hmm.
But I was thinking in my head, and I have a tendency to do this. Like, this is going to be a grand thing. It was going to be huge. They're drumming it up as a special event. So they must be going back and doing some edits and whatnot. I mean, obviously, post wasn't done. They even said that's the reason why 16 didn't come out right away, is because they like 2 days away from having the post done.
Yeah.
But I just felt it was lackluster at points. Like, I love the fact that they used burning down the house as the Pied Piper
Yes. That was
for
cool.
because I love that song as it is. And then Luke in the background behind Jerry just kind of like dancing. That was funny.
Yeah.
Like, of all the times you're going to start dancing.
Yeah. Dance with a bunch of walkers behind you.
Yeah. And then not only that, you got Whispers in the mix behind or wherever else they are. But yeah, I don't know. On my scale, I'd say I was about half and half on the finale. I've seen stronger finales.
Yeah.
I mean, then again, I'm one of the minority that liked the cliffhanger with Negan. So
Oh, when they ended it with him killing somebody. Yeah. That was it was a rough thing, but I do like how they did it. How they brought him in.
yeah, and everybody was up in arms like, now we got to wait through the summer to see who he kills, and
Hmm.
but I liked it because it made you come back. So
Yeah.
now, did you ever Wayne? Because I didn't get into Walking Dead until they announced Jeffrey Dean Morgan was coming on. Jeffrey Dean Morgan was the draw that drew me in,
Okay.
and so then I went back on Netflix and I rewatched the whole series from start to current at that point. I started feeling like season 2 lost me, and then season 4 lost me. Like, the even seasons seem to be the weak seasons for me. I don't know why. It just
Yeah.
they do. I mean, did you ever have that feeling? Like, just you felt like you were done at one point?
No, I've actually been watching since 2010, since it came out. I did start watching it on Netflix at the time because I didn't have cable, of course. But I did start watching as soon as Netflix put it on Netflix. Obviously, the first season I watched it, and then after that, I watched it on cable. As it came out on Sundays. But the seasons that kind of were drawn out to me is when they after the prison and they were all separated, where they had all the episodes showing how each member of the group was doing. That to me, I mean, that was drawn out. It was probably half a season, I think. And they were
Carl's putting episode.
yeah, but it felt like it was forever. But I never had a moment to where I didn't think that I would watch it, or that I would stop watching it. People say, if so and so dies, then I'm not doing it, but I don't think that. I think that it's a good show in itself. It actually come to be like a tradition in my family. We watch it together. So ever since 2010, me and my family, we get around the TV, and that's kind of like, everybody say, oh, play games, have a game night. Well, it's us, it's The Walking Dead. We do it together. Even my dad, my brother, it's like, it's everybody. So besides my husband, he's the only one in the household that don't like it, but he's outvoted, obviously. But I mean, no, I've always loved it. there's been characters, of course, you hate, characters that you really like or whatever. But I think all in all, I'm eat up with it. As my sister-in-law says, she's tired of me talking about it.
Well, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Granted, season 11 is going to be the final, but I mean, we got spinoffs. We got the Rick Grimes trilogy, which, as far as I know, is still in the works.
Yeah.
I mean, even with COVID going on, they're still planning on pushing through with the trilogy. I mean, I haven't heard Gimple say anything different about that.
I haven't heard any different. So.
And now we got some answers from the first episode of World Beyond. I mean, now we know why Rick didn't come back.
Yeah.
So they don't let him come back.
Yeah. It's kind of.
But have you ever read the comics, or are you just strictly a show person?
I looked at some of the comics. After I think I watched a couple seasons. I read I think a couple of the comics, the first ones, and then I kind of stopped. I kind of peek at them every now and then my son, he's read the comics, so he kind of lets me know after the show, hey, this could happen or this happened in the comic, So I kind of know a little bit. With the two, like the difference of them. I don't want to fully watch them or read them yet until I get done with the show. And then I'll probably either go buy them or whatever so that I have them and then I can read them. Everybody says, well, read the book before the movie. Well, I'd rather see the show before reading the comics just so that I'm more surprised, I guess, that I don't know what's coming up. It's more suspenseful for me. And then the new characters pop up. Of course, I don't know them, so that's kind of good for me, so that's It's new. It's not something that I already knew it was coming.
Yeah, well, I mean, the show's deviated from the comics quite a bit. I mean, that's one of the great things about the show. Everybody complains about it. And for me, honestly, I'm a purist. I like things to stay as they are for the most when it comes to source material. But at the same time, when you're having a show run like this, you kind of have to deviate from the source, because if not, you get people that do read the comics and they've read them 3, 4, 5 times. And they're like, oh, we already know the beat by beat by beat of what's going to happen. But if you throw something in the mix of like, oh, well, we're going to kill this character off now. Like, let's take case in point. It's not a spoiler alert at all. Dale, season 2. He wasn't supposed to die then. Dale's supposed to die way later. I can't remember when it was. He's supposed to die way later. But he wanted out of the show. So because when Darabont left, he's a big Darabont friend and worker. You look at any Darabont's work, he's the actor's in most of his work, if not all of it. And when Darabont was forced out, he goes, I don't want to work here no more. So you need to get rid of me. You need to find a way to kill me. And that's what they did. I can't remember what season it was supposed to be that Dale was supposed to die in. I think it was during the All Out War arc, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So I could be totally wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's when it was supposed to be. And I've, like you, I poked and prodded at the comics. I actually have all the compendiums now, and I'm not even a quarter way through the first one. I got it right here beside me. So, but as for Fear the Walking Dead, I didn't start watching that until Morgan moved over. Mm-hmm. And then obviously Dwight moved over, which I'll be curious to see what they do with him, with Dwight this season. Everybody's like, oh, I wonder about Morgan with the red eyes and whatnot. And I'm more interested in Dwight. I want to see if he actually finds his wife, because that's been a thing that they've been carrying through both shows.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who's to say she isn't part of the community that they're going to be forced into?
Yeah. Yeah, I've actually watched that one too since it started. But yeah, the whole the white thing, and now he's more on the good side too. That's interesting to see the two different aspects of him, and then of course the Sherry thing. It's just really sweet that he's still looking for her, and he's still driving to get her, find her. It's a really interesting show.
I did see one thing. I never really dug into this, and I don't remember this. Maybe you do, because like you said, you watched pretty much from the beginning. Morgan's wife, did she have red eyes too?
No, her eyes looked like the Walker eyes. She didn't have her eyes. From what I understand, of course, it was dark when you seen her in that scene when she's at the door, looking through, that's the closest you see her.
Yeah.
But I don't remember her having the red eyes.
See, I don't either, but I saw a lot of people saying that Morgan's wife had red eyes too.
Yeah, I'd have to.
But I don't recall that.
Mm-mm. That's something that would stick in your head because it's different, not common. So I don't
yeah, just like Gabriel with his blindness in the one eye.
Yeah.
Which I did see a continuity error on that. Somebody pointed it out today to me this morning. Why was Gabriel aiming with his blind eye in the finale?
Yeah, I saw that too, and it's kind of interesting. Like, you would think the writers or producers would have caught it.
You think, especially being that it was Nakataro that was directing this episode.
Yeah.
Do you think the World Beyond will end up leading into the Rick Grimes trilogy?
I that's what I'm thinking too. I'm thinking that when it's winding down, of course, that's when the movie's going to come out. Hopefully, that the time coincides and is the same time. Like it ends and then the Rick Grimes movie comes out, so where it leads into it. I did read that we'll find something about Rick through the series. He's not going to be on it per se, but we will find out. Like they'll be little words or little comments or conversations that we can probably find out where he's at, of course, what he's doing. But yeah, I'm hoping that all three shows kind of stop and then they all hopefully, cross my fingers that the Walking Dead movie or Rick Grimes movie will have a little bit of everybody in it to where you find out how everything's going to end and it kind of puts an end to the whole thing. That way you're not wondering or left with a bunch of unknowns, I guess.
Yeah. Apparently Larry in chat here isn't a fan of World Beyond. Larry, it's only an episode in. Give it a shot. That ending was pretty epic.
Yes. That's what I said about Fear. Give it a chance.
I want to see what happens in episode 2. I want to give it at least 3 or 4 episodes before I judge. So you might as well say I'm giving it a half a season because they're only 10 episode seasons.
Yeah.
So give me a half a season and I'll see where I'm at in the end. It's just like I'm really waiting to pass judgment on the season 10 finale until it hits Netflix and I can binge all season 10 together and just kind of get a feel because there's season 16. God, I wish it was season 16.
Right. Good.
But season 10, episode 16 just feels like it's disconnected from the rest of season 10. And a lot of that's because of what we went through with COVID, and we're still going through with COVID.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's all like it literally is a lead in from episode 15. So I want to see how that plays when I watch it back to back, at least the last 2 episodes, because that to me feels like a 2-hour season finale, not just a one. So maybe my view will change. As of right now, I'm kind of it is what it is. But
Yeah.
when I see it in its entirety, maybe I'll be like, okay. Granted, Negan had some great one-liners in the finale, though. I mean, it's Negan; he always does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, fee fi fo asshole was great.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he kind of called him out while they're in the horde. That was kind of
Yep. Yeah. Hey, shithead.
yeah.
Granted, I'm one of them ones that say that fight went too short because they drummed that fight up as like, oh, this is going to be epic. It's going to be Beta and Daryl versus Negan, or Daryl and Negan versus Beta, and it just wasn't. It just felt like Negan went and said some shit. Negan got knocked down as a distraction, and then Daryl came in for the kill.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I get it. You're in the middle of a horde. You don't want things to last long, so you're going to take the shot when you take the shot. But I was kind of hoping for something bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Negan was the distraction. And then, you said like, you just Daryl.
Well, it's like Norman went and said on Talking Dead, too. Negan saved him earlier.
Yeah.
Windows 3 whisperers came up and said to Negan that he was the alpha. And he went and, what was it? God, it's been so long since I've seen that episode. He blasted him with a shotgun or something like that?
Yeah, he got the shotgun. He kind of told the whisperer, I'm the alpha. Why do you have the shotgun? And then, of course, the guy handed him the shotgun, and then he killed him. So.
Yeah, and so it came full circle where Daryl saves Negan. And I do gotta agree with you. That bit with Carol leading the herd to the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, we know that we're getting the Daryl Carol spinoff, which I'm curious what that's going to be about. I'm waiting for more information on that. But knowing that she's going to make it through the series,
mm-hmm.
I still felt like we're going to watch her die. She's going to walk off the cliff.
Yes.
And then Lydia comes out of nowhere
and grabs her hand. Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yes.
Now, I'm confused one thing about Lydia. She showed up after Beatrice got tore apart, which, by the way, was freaking epic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's got to be probably the most epic kill I've seen since Noah.
Yeah.
But how does she have Alpha's mask if Beta took part of Alpha's mask and put it on his?
Well, the mask that Beta has is actual Alpha's face. Her original.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought the same thing because Negan hands Lydia the mask, obviously, and at first I thought it was his mask, but I think his mask is the one what killed. No, because Negan was wearing his mask at the end. But yeah, he hands the mask to her. But the mask that the Beta has on is the side of actual Alpha's face with her bald head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense now because I definitely had that moment. It's like, wait, half the mask is gone already. So, but now you say that, it's like that because that looked fresh.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Lots of yeah.
Makes sense. I did like the fact that he was having like an acid trip in the walkers where the walkers were supposedly talking to him. That was pretty cool.
Yes, that was interesting. I've seen many of those spoof type things where that makes them look like they're singing. That's exactly what it felt like to me. I'm like, they were just talking to him, and I really, I was like thinking maybe that was a whisper, but it wasn't. It was the walker. So I'm like, it's just they did it really good to where it made me even question the fact that I'm seeing them talk to Beta, or maybe they're just
especially that one that walked up in that short girl. I mean, I say short, but reality probably normal size because Ryan Hurst is like a freaking monster. Yeah. But walks up and walks around them and says, "This is the end of us," or we're at the end of us, or something like that, and then says something else after that, and then walks away. Right as the music starts playing.
Yeah.
Like that was pretty trippy.
Yeah. It was like a foreshadowing to him, like, what you're not gonna win. You're
Yeah.
It's about to be over.
And a lot of people, because a lot of people don't watch Fear for the fact that Fear's got a bad rep
Yeah.
within the fan base. But there was an Easter egg. What was it? I think it was last year. It had to have been last year, where they show a bunch of records, and
Yeah.
one guy
Betas.
and Beta's
Danielle.
on the vinyl,
Mm-hmm.
and I found it really interesting that Negan, of all people, was the one that noticed that. Hey, you realize who that was, right?
Yeah, that was strange too. I was at first when I saw him have the mask on all the time, like you never saw his face. Of course, besides Lydia or besides Alpha, I at first thought maybe he had a deformity or something on him, and that's why he covered it at first. And like when we first saw him with the ski mask on. But then after a while, you kind of think, well, maybe he just don't want people to know who he is. And when Negan said that, I'm like, that's it. He did not want people to know who he was. Maybe he was that iconic, because I'm a country fan. Of course, if I saw a country singer in the Walking Dead world, I would freak out, obviously. So, I mean, I can get why he had it on all the time, why he never showed his face. That's very understandable.
Yeah, and trying to think, there was another Easter egg that I saw. I think it was in World Beyond, but I can't remember what it was. I know it was she was outside walking around, but then again, that's kind of like 95% of the episode. Yeah. So, but I can't think of what it was. I just totally lost it. But what would you say would be the strongest arc that you have watched so far? Which one did you enjoy the most?
Out of all the 3 shows? Or
yeah.
In general. Well, mine, of course, is The Walking Dead. The original show is always pretty, holds a true thing in my heart. And with me, I, at first, like I was like some people are skeptical about Fear. Of course, I watched it just because I'm like, I know one day they're going to throw something in there from The Walking Dead, or they're going to throw some from Fear into The Walking Dead. So I don't want to be not knowing what's going on. So that was why I kind of stuck with it. But The Walking Dead is my main show, through and through. I guess it's I'm shocked that it hasn't won many awards as when you see.
Well, especially special effects.
Yeah. I'm really just shocked that it's not as big as it should be. Through that, I watch the award show all the time. When they get the TV category, I'm like, okay, I don't even know what category that would be labeled in. I know there's many different categories, but I still think
I couldn't even tell you. I don't watch award shows.
Yeah, so. It should be up there, and it should be more of an award winning show. Especially because of the fan base. It's so big. It's huge, and I just that shocks me.
Yeah. Now, you said The Walking Dead is the one that you gravitate towards, which is me as well. For me, the arc within The Walking Dead that I feel is the strongest arc had to have been probably the Governor arc, just because there's something about the Governor that I liked. Now, I don't know if you call the first season an arc, because it's basically they're just trying to get from point A to point B and just stay alive. So there's not much of an arc there. But with actually facing a villain, I would say probably the Governor. Yeah. And I'd say the weakest is probably Terminus.
Yes. They didn't last at Terminus very long, which is great, because if they did, then someone probably would have died if they would have lasted there long enough. But
there was one bit that I did like with Terminus though, is the guy, who was it? Carol and Rick meet the guy and the lady in the one apartment. The guy is really banged up or whatnot, and Rick gives him his watch.
yeah, Sam.
Yeah, he came back for Terminus, and he was the one that actually got slit.
Yes, that was interesting. Yeah, and the fact that
I didn't notice that the first time I watched it, and I went back and I watched the second time. I was like, I know you.
Yeah.
Where do I know you from?
I think Daryl recognized him as soon as right before he got, sliced, obviously, or hit in the head, that he recognized him. He was like, "Oh shit!" Like,
yeah, that's why Rick looked. That's why Rick looked at him and was like,
"Yeah,
yo, what the fuck? What are you doing here?"
Yeah. And then he ended up getting his watch back because it was that Terminus.
That and the red hatchet.
Yeah. And then, there was a lot of things that just they would lose, and then all of a sudden they'd find again. And
yeah, that was one thing I always liked, is they did like the webisodes at the beginning. Yeah. I don't understand why they stopped them.
Yes,
because they were so good.
Yeah,
especially the lady that got tore apart.
Yes, the Walker, Hannah.
Yeah,
yeah, Bicycle Girl. Yeah.
Yep, that one was great. I mean, I don't understand why they stopped doing that and giving us some backstory stuff, because I find that stuff intriguing. But it is what it is.
Yeah,
so
interesting.
After, there's one thing that I still am curious about from season 10 is Michonne's exit, when she sees that big group of people that are marching down the highway. Do you think that's Commonwealth, or do you think that's CRM?
I would think CRM would be bigger than Commonwealth, simply because they've said they've had different communities all over the United States, or different places. So I would probably be more of the CRM than the Commonwealth. But like I said, I've never read the comic books, so I don't know how the comic books go as towards these two groups. I would see Commonwealth as a smaller group. Of course, that's just me, guessing. And of course, my thoughts on it, but I would probably think more of a CRM. And then the fact that, apparently that's where the boat led them. I don't know why she ended up stopping that particular spot when she was looking for Rick. Something made her stop there. So there's a reason, that. So that I'm still thinking CRM.
And as far as I know, CRM is not in the comic. That's a show exclusive. I could be wrong on that.
Okay, that's interesting.
I know Commonwealth is the final arc of the show, but the comic, I mean. But CRM, I've never heard anybody that read the comic ever say anything about the CRM. So,
okay.
But trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to touch on. Other than the fact that we're getting 6 episodes more of season 10, which they've already said is going to be little in-depth episodes of different characters dealing with Commonwealth.
Yeah, and then of course Maggie. They said it's going to be showing what she's been up to.
Yeah, so we got a Maggie episode. You might as well say we got a King Ezekiel episode, a Eugene episode, Princess, and who's the other one? Yumiko?
Yeah, she's with them where they got the.
So yeah, the question is who's the 6th one? Is that a Rick episode? Maybe.
Interesting. Hoping. Here's the hoping.
That would be interesting. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, actually, you know what? I don't want it to be a Rick episode. I'd rather it be a Negan episode. I'd rather them take that episode and do the Heroes Negan comic.
Yes.
I would. we need that because that
Mhm.
I have read that comic. That comic is really good.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I mean, short of that, I mean, we got 30 episodes left. 6 of them are for season 10. We got 24 end cap for season 11. And then Carol and Daryl spinoff coming shortly thereafter, which if everything goes according to plan, I think they said it was 2022 that Carol Daryl spinoffs is to be out.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, short of that, I mean, we pretty much know the groundwork. That's one thing I do. I don't like Gimple for much, but I do like the fact that he does, once dominoes fall into place, he lays the groundwork out for the fans. He's not like, oh, we're just going to let you guess.
Yeah.
So, if I got to say one positive about him, it would be that. But unless you have anything else, I mean, that's pretty much everything in a nutshell for now.
Yeah.
So,
that's good.
All right. Yep. Thank you very much, Amanda. I was hoping that we would have had a few more people in here, but I mean,
yeah,
normally
better conversation when you get other ideas and views.
Yeah, but I know I'll get comments down the road on the video, so we'll do this again sometime. The next one I'm planning on doing is a Supernatural episode once the finale airs.
Okay. I have two sons that are me too, but I've not watched all the Supernaturals. But I have two sons that are really big in those shows. So I mean, I throw them in there if you need them to. One, my son Russell Judkins, he's a cosplayer, so he goes to a convention. He's a big convention person, so he's also he knows a lot about a lot of shows. So he would not be another one to be a good one to talk on that. And
absolutely.
I this, but he's working right now, so.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll keep in contact, and we'll when Supernatural finishes their run up here. I think it starts this I think it starts tonight, actually. So I think it's 8 episodes to go, and then we're done. So by the end of the year. Yeah. But yeah, thank you very much for being part of this. Like I said, I wish that we would have had more people in the room. Like you said, more people, more ideas, more topics to talk about. But
yeah,
it is what it is. It's the middle of the day. It's a work day, and most of my audience is from SEN Live anyhow, and they're live right now. So kind of didn't think that one through, but it is.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being on. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep. And you have a good day. And if anybody is interested, the group that Amanda and I met in is the Walking Dead World Group. So if you want to be a fan of The Walking Dead and be able to talk about Walking Dead all the time, that is where I do most of my topics of conversation, and that's actually where I've been seeing a lot of this stuff popping up lately. So, but again, thank you, Amanda. I appreciate it. We'll do this again sometime.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.